Welcome to our LEAP LawY webinar hosted by our client success team. We'll give it a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes while everyone is joining us so we can start the presentation.
For some reason, my camera stopped working.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't know what happened with my camera.
It's okay, but you'll be able to share your screen. So one or two. Let's give it a few minutes just so everyone can trickle in. We'll start at 1:05.
Hmm. It's very strange.
I can see people getting in. We're waiting for a few more minutes. So just a minute and we'll start our presentation today. So thank you for joining us, everyone. And I appreciate the patience. I guess we will start. Welcome today to our webinar about LawY. LawY in Leap, turn more leads into billable hours without chaos, hosted by our client success team. And today we do have Christine Kim joining us, our LawY. She'll be presenting more about LawY and talking more about the changes that have happened to LawY and any insights that she'll be sharing with us today. A couple of housekeeping. This webinar will run for approximately 45 minutes. give or take. We'll have a session for asking at the end of it all. Once she's done presenting, we'll have a Q&A, and then after that, a recording will be sent to all people that have joined our webinar today. And so I will hand this over to Christine. Christine, you want to start? Welcome, and you want to start your.
Sure, I'll share my PowerPoint right now. Hi everyone, my name is Christine Kim. I apologize that my camera decided to stop working a minute before this webinar started, but hopefully all of you can hear me okay. So I'm a lawyer at LawY, and before joining LawY, I was formerly in private practice for about 10 years. So I understand the daily stress of managing a practice with a never-ending to-do list. And I'm sure many of you have experienced days where you sit at your desk in the morning and you come up with your to-do list and the priorities that you need to get done that day. But then, of course, a client contacts you with an urgent issue. And by the end of the day, you're lucky if you've checked off even one task from your list. So I'm hoping today's webinar session will show you how LawY can assist you so that you can streamline your tasks, hopefully get more things done on your to-do list, and reserve precious time for building your client relationships. And by saving time, you'll also be able to service more clients for your firm. So LawY is meant to save you hours with legal research, with getting drafting done, and basically any other administrative work that is bogging you down. So first, I'm just going to provide a quick overview of LawY and explain what makes it unique. Then I'll show you a live demo of LawY in action and show you some sample questions that you can ask to hopefully give you some ideas. Then I'll provide you with some tips for maximizing LawY in your practice, and I'm also happy to take any questions at the end. So for those of you who are new to LawY, let's first touch on how LawY works and why it's safe to use. So LawY uses a large language model to process your legal questions and generate instant AI answers. But LawY goes beyond typical AI-generated responses to make our platform purpose-built for lawyers. So firstly, we ensure that all AI answers are tailored to your province and matter type with linked resources. And we also have a real human lawyer in the loop, meaning that you can submit any AI answer for verification. And one of our experienced local lawyers will then review that AI answer for accuracy and make changes where needed. Submitting an AI answer for verification is included in your LEAP subscription at no additional cost. So I do encourage you to leverage this feature. The other benefit of us having these human verified answers is that they contribute to our expanding legal knowledge base. So the verified answers strengthen the accuracy of future AI answers. So if a user asks a similar question down the road, the AI answer's quality will be better because it will be drawing upon its verified legal knowledge base to build that AI answer. Another thing I wanted to highlight that's unique to LawY is that our operational team is largely made up of lawyers. So you can be assured that our priority is offering an AI assistant that is useful for lawyers. And we also understand, because we came from private practice, that lawyers prioritize privacy and security. So we make sure that LawY does not use your input to train AI models, ensuring that your client's sensitive information stays secure and ring-fenced. And if you would like more information regarding our privacy and security features, a great online resource that we have is our Trust Center. So if you visit our Trust Center, which is at trust.lawY.ai, our Trust Center has a lot of information with regards to our privacy and security features, as well as an FAQ section, which will probably answer a lot of questions that you may have with regards to LawY's privacy and security. So I would encourage you to check that out. LawY has become the trusted AI legal research assistant that is being used by over 70,000 lawyers with over 3 million questions asked so far. And in Canada, LawY is available in Ontario, BC, Alberta, and Manitoba in all practice areas. So I would encourage you to use LawY or test LawY as I go through the demo just to see firsthand how it works, because I'm going to jump into the demo now. So I'm going to just navigate to a different screen so that I can show you how you can access LawY for those that haven't yet tried clicking on that button. So first, to access LawY through Leap, all you need to do is open any Leap matter.
I think we lost you, Christine. Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. And let me check in on Christine. But just to continue. Just to continue on what Christine was saying, to access LawY, within your matter, you do have this ribbon here. And this section here that says Matter AI Chat and Research AI, those are the two AI tools that we do have. But for LawY, you would see it would say LawY. And it's in under your details and correspondences. Give me a second here while I try. Sorry about that, guys. Give me a minute or a minute while. Sorry.
Hear me right now?
Yes, we can hear you right now.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what's happening right now. Can you see my LawY interface there?
Yes, we can. I can see it.
Okay, I apologize for that interruption. So as I was saying, if you open any Leap matter, you'll see the LawY AI button at the top in your correspondence pane. And when you click on that button, it'll lead you to the LawY interface that you see here. And so here, because I've opened an Ontario divorce and separation matter, it will automatically set all of your questions to Ontario divorce and separation. But let's say you wanted to ask a question in a different province or practice area. It's very easy to do from this interface. All you would need to do is click New, and then you would click New Matter. And then you would select the province that you would like to ask the question in. So let's say you have a question related to BC, you would click on BC. Then you would select the practice area. So let's say you wanted to ask a question in estates, click estate. And then you just need to name this matter something that's easy for you to remember. So I'm just going to type BC estate. And then if you click create, you'll see that now it's been changed to BC estate. So this is an easy way for you to create essentially dummy matters in LawY without having to create a whole new matter in LEAP in order to ask questions in a different province or a practice area. All right, I'm just going to navigate back to an Ontario divorce and separation file. I also wanted to note that you can also access LawY online. And you simply need to go to app.lawy.ai, and you can log in there using your LEAP credentials. The difference between logging in online and through LEAP is that when you log in online, it won't preset your province and practice area. Oh, it's app.lawy.ai if you want to log in online. All right. Okay. Another tip that I have just for those that are new is we recommend not asking questions. We know that that's a matter type available in LEAP, but because it's more of a generic matter type, we recommend that you ask questions under the substantive matter rather than practice management. And that also ensures that when you submit it for verification, that it will go to one of our experienced verifiers in that practice area. So I know sometimes you think that a question is more of a practice management question, but if you could ask it in a substantive matter like real estate, wills and estates, family law, you'll get a more tailored answer that way. So in terms of the types of questions that you can ask LawY, there's really no limit to what kind of questions you can ask LawY. Whether you're looking to double check your understanding of a legal principle or explore an unfamiliar area of law, I would recommend that anytime you have a legal question that comes to mind as you're working on your file, I would encourage you to ask that question to LawY. So use LawY as your starting point for any file work or legal research so you're not starting from a blank slate. So I'm just going to copy and paste here as an example a legal question that I might have after a new client has come in and I've just opened their file. And let's say the new client is telling me that they haven't seen their children in over a month because the other parent has been withholding the children. And I want to ask LawY, what steps should we take and what evidence would we need to present if we do decide to bring a motion for parenting time? So especially when you have something urgent that's going on your file, it's a great way to ask LawY your question, especially for lawyers that might not necessarily be able to ask a senior lawyer for guidance. LawY is a great way to double check your understanding. So as you can see here, very quickly, it's provided an overview of my question. Things to check. Of course, you need to check with the client if there was already an existing court order. If there isn't an existing court order, documents that you should be gathering, whether you should be considering an early case conference rather than bringing an urgent motion. If you do decide to bring a motion, what the procedure should be. So it's a pretty thorough overview here with things to consider. And even if you have dealt with this type of issue before, which I'm sure many family lawyers have dealt with this sort of issue before, it's a very common issue. It's a great way to make sure that you haven't missed anything in your analysis of the file. Now, a recent feature that we've just introduced is our inline citations. So for those that may have used LawY before, you probably know that we used to have a resources section at the bottom of the AI answer. But instead of having a resources section at the end, we've actually introduced inline citations throughout the answer. And we've determined that that's more useful to the user because now you can see exactly which section which source is supporting each section. So for example, if I click on this inline citation here, it'll pop up the source of that information. And here actually it's drawing upon a verified answer. So the information is coming from our verified legal knowledge base because a user has asked a related question, because the question that I asked is a very common question. Luckily for this question, there's quite a lot of verified answers that the AI can draw upon. And this is great for the user because you already know that that an experienced lawyer has looked at this question, AI response, and they've made any corrections if necessary. So it gives you that added assurance when you're looking at this verified answer that a set of eyes has already looked at this. All right. For any older conversations and questions, it'll still show the older view of having resources at the end. But for any new questions that you ask, it will have this new feature of the inline citations. Okay. So if I scroll down to the bottom of the answer, I wanted to point out some other features. So first, the clipboard icon just allows you to copy this answer. If you wanted to copy and paste it into a Word document or into an email, you would just click on that and you would just click on copy message. The icon beside that, the star icon, just allows you to do a couple other things. You can ask LawY to make the answer shorter if maybe you were looking for something more concise. Remove personal information if there does happen to be any that you've included, improve writing, fix spelling and grammar, or even translate into a number of different languages. There's also our feedback button, the thumbs up, thumbs down. So please feel free to use that so that our team can take that into consideration. And then down below here, you'll see some suggested questions. So our LLM will suggest some related questions, which if it is relevant to your research, feel free to click on any of these questions. And when you click on it, another AI generated response will appear. All right, so to follow up with my first question, I'm just going to copy and paste the follow-up question. And now I want some case law research with regards to this issue. So I'm asking LawY, find recent Ontario cases where the court determined that the motion was urgent because a parent was withholding the children. And the better instructions that you give LawY in terms of what kind of cases you're looking for, the more relevant the case law results likely will be. So as you can see here, it's already started producing some cases with regards to motions and withholding children. And so as lawyers, we know that case law research can eat up a lot of time, and clients don't necessarily appreciate paying a lot of time for lawyers to be doing case law research. So LawY can certainly save you a lot of time jumpstarting your research. A common question that I do get, or a concern that lawyers have with using AI for case law research is the potential for hallucinations. And we certainly understand that concern. Our response to that is that, unfortunately, there's no way for any AI tool to completely eliminate hallucinations. And there's certainly, there's always a risk that there could be a hallucinated case. But our view is that it still saves you a lot of time getting suggested cases up front, and then for you to verify whether the case is accurate and relevant to your file, rather than you having to manually look for cases and also then determine whether the case is relevant. So getting some cases suggested to you right off the bat, now all you need to do is self-verify the cases. And of course, you can also submit it for verification so that our experienced lawyer also takes a look at the cases alongside your due diligence on the cases. Right. And then another question that I'm just going to follow up with this, because now that I've done my research, I know what information I need from the client and what evidence the court would expect if I were to bring a motion for parenting time. I'm going to now draft an email to the client containing a checklist for more information and evidence that I would want the client to bring to me about the other parent withholding the children. And drafting is a really easy way for you to get started with LawY because we know that drafting takes a lot of time. But again, it's time that clients don't necessarily appreciate us drafting lengthy emails to them. So just getting that first draft produced instantly. And then all you need to do is then quickly review the email, make any corrections if necessary, or tailor it to your style, and then you can just send that off to the client. Or, you can ask LawY to help you provide instructions to your law clerk so that the law clerk can then canvas with the client information that you would need. And again, you can always provide follow-up prompts to LawY depending on the style that you want. You can ask LawY to make the email shorter. You can ask LawY to make it more natural in terms of its language, or if you have any stylistic preferences, you can ask LawY to bold headings or have numbered paragraphs, things like that. So anything that you would be giving further instructions to a law clerk or an articling student, you can also ask LawY to tailor it that way too. And then as a final follow-up questions, I'm going to ask LawY to prepare a comprehensive file note of the work done from this conversation and make sure that it notes that the material was generated with the assistance of AI and needs to be verified before use. Use clear and concise language suitable for a law firm file note. So as a general practice tip, it is a good idea to note in your file anytime that you do use AI for research, just to remind yourself as well as anybody else that might touch the file. So you can simply just copy and paste this into your file note as a reminder. So the other feature that I wanted to show you is our deep research and human verification feature. So if you want to go more in depth, or you want some extra assurance about the accuracy of our AI answers, you can select the deep research and human verification button that's at the top right corner here. And when you click on that, what it will first do is that it will first extract the substantive legal questions from the conversation. So it's extracted the questions about bringing a motion, but it hasn't extracted the question about drafting. It doesn't extract drafting questions because we've determined that drafting questions are not suitable for deep research and verification, simply because the user is really the only one that knows all the details of their file to accurately produce that final draft for whatever they're working on. But for any substantive legal questions, it should be generating that. So let's say I just wanted to do deep research on that first question. I can select that. I can also select whether I want to get it verified. And then if I select next, now it will also produce any conversation details, which you can also edit. So, it's extracted the fact that the client, that the other parent is withholding the children, client has not seen them over a month. If you wanted to add in details like how old the children are, you can add that in the box here. You can also deselect anything that you don't want LawY to consider in its deep research answer. And then once you click submit, you'll see the deep research answer when it's ready in the left pane here. And it does typically take about 15 to 30 minutes for the deep research answer to generate. So you can do something else and then come back and see that deep research answer. And then once a verified answer is ready, you'll be able to see it under the verifications tab here. Now, in terms of how quickly the verified answer will be ready, it does depend on the province and practice area that you ask or that you submit the question in, as well as, of course, the availability of our verifiers at a given time. So, some provinces and practice areas, we do have a more robust panel of verifiers than others. For example, family law, real estate, wills and estates, popular practice areas, we have more verifiers in. With niche areas, it might take a bit longer, but generally, it would take, a day up to maybe a couple of days, just depending on those factors that I just mentioned. All right, so now that I've shown some demo questions, I'm just going to navigate back to my PowerPoint so that I can share some tips for those that are new to using LawY, or even those that have already used LawY. So here. Okay. All right, so many law societies across Canada have published white papers or guidance on using AI. So I would encourage you to review those materials in your applicable province. But the good news is that you don't need to transform your entire practice overnight. So building AI literacy starts with a simple step, actually using the tool. So you can't really understand LawY's capabilities and limitations from just hearing about them. You need to experience them firsthand. And hopefully some of you have already tried demoing some questions as I was doing the demo. So first, start small with low risk tasks such as administrative tasks and drafting, like even drafting emails. And you don't have to invest, significant time to get started. Even trying it out for 5 minutes a day for low risk tasks such as drafting or double checking your legal knowledge will get you comfortable with incorporating LawY into your workflow. Another tip for those that might be still a little bit concerned about privacy and security is you can always first use historical cases that you've already completed your matter on to test what the AI response is without being concerned then about client confidentiality. And this way you can get your feet wet, compare the quality of the AI answers to your knowledge of the file and assess how, LawY works. Another similar way that you can start using LawY is to ask AI to draft a document that you've already completed. That way you can just compare LawY's output to identify strengths and gaps. Maybe it will suggest something that you hadn't considered incorporating into your draft. Another tip that we have is to use clear prompts. So the better your instructions are to LawY and the more detailed they are, the more likely you'll get a more tailored response. Sometimes, we see lawyers giving questions to LawY that are only like 3 words. And that ends up being a very vague question then. So an analogy that I like to use is treat LawY as your junior assistant. And you know that if you give vague instructions to your junior assistant without explaining the context, there will likely be issues in the work that they produce. So add context to your questions and the relevant information so that you get the most tailored and accurate response. Use LawY for thinking and not just writing. It can help you brainstorm arguments, spot issues, and analyze your file from alternative angles. Sometimes when we're advocating for our clients, we can become tunnel visioned because we're focusing on our client side of the story. And so LawY can be really valuable in ensuring that you're also considering potential weaknesses of your file. And we all have encountered instances where we wish, we could reach out to a senior, more experienced lawyer for guidance on a file. I would say, if there isn't a senior lawyer available at that moment, that's where LawY can step in, where you can ask LawY your question. It's available 24/7. There's no judgment when you ask LawY, so you can be really candid in all the questions that you ask LawY. And the last tip that I have is to expect imperfect outputs and iterate. So some users get discouraged with AI because they'll ask a question and the first answer that they get is not what they're looking for. And unfortunately, the way that AI works is that you need to expect that sometimes you have to ask follow-up questions to add clarity and improve the results of the AI answers. That's why we have the conversation feature available for you to go back and forth with LawY and, add more context, add more clarity. If there is something that you notice that is inaccurate in the AI response, feel free to point it out to LawY in your follow-up question. And that way, you can hopefully get the answer that you're looking for with a few back and forths if necessary. I also wanted to take a moment to explain our verifier opportunity. So we are still looking for verifiers. It does depend on the province and the practice area, but we are looking for verifiers, especially in Manitoba, which is our most recent province. But if you are interested in learning more about becoming a verifier, please feel free to scan the QR code that you see on the screen there and submit an interest in becoming a verifier form, and we'll reach out to you. Some criteria that we have for verifiers is that we are looking for experienced lawyers. So lawyers that have at least 5 years of post-call experience. In your practice area, we're looking for experienced lawyers that are interested in some legal research and writing, who are interested in staying on top of what's happening with LawY and AI. And so if that's something of interest to you, please feel free to reach out. The other thing I should mention about becoming a verifier is that it is a paid opportunity. So it is an additional income stream for our verifiers. We pay verifiers the hourly rate that they charge in private practice to do LawY verifier work. So hopefully that's another attractive feature for you. And I think that's it now in terms of what I wanted to cover.
Thank you so much, Christine. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. That was amazing. I think I learned a lot. Now we're going to open this up to Q&A. I will unmute most of you guys, so you can unmute yourself and ask your question if you want. And feel free to also use the chat box or the Q&A to ask any questions. After this, you'll receive a survey. Once you log off, we'd appreciate some feedback of the presentation of how we can get better. But yeah, feel free to ask any questions, whoever. Just unmute yourself and ask any question.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me, Murshid?
Hi, Karen. Yes, I can hear
Hi.
you.
Okay, it's wonderful to see you and our presenter. Thank you for such an excellent presentation.
Thank you.
I'm learning. I'm from the old school, so this is really new to me. What I'm curious about is protecting client privilege, right? So if I were to refer to the client by first and last name, or I'm drafting a document and I have the court file number or sensitive information about a child's name, date of birth, are those things kept confidential using LawY, or is there a possibility that the information could be leaked to the public or to someone that should not get that information?
Yes, that's a great question, Karen. I'm glad you asked that question. So firstly, what we recommend when you ask a question to LawY, if at all possible, is to remove personally identifiable information such as clients' names. So if it's possible, instead of typing in, let's say, client Amanda Smith into the question, if you could delete that and just say, client, then that is what we would suggest before asking the question. But even if you inadvertently include personally identifiable information or PII into your question, what happens is that if you submit it for verification, it will automatically de-identify things like clients' names when it's being submitted for verification. And so when the verifier sees the question and the AI answer, it should already be stripped of personally identifiable information, and we use our LLM in the background to do that. But if on the off chance there is still something that was inadvertently missed, the instructions that we provide to our verifiers is that they need to then manually delete any personally identifiable information in the verified answer before they submit it for verification. And it's only the verified answer that gets stored in our legal knowledge base. So it wouldn't include the personally identifiable information that you might have accidentally included.
Okay, so when you say only the verified, just to follow up, only the verified answers are stored. So even just by inputting in the information and asking LawY a certain question, that's not stored?
It's not stored in our retrieval knowledge base. I mean, the information is still stored in the sense that you'd be able to still access your previous questions and answers. But that's for you to see only. It's not for our verifiers to see. That's just for your history of conversations. That's why, as a general rule of thumb, we do recommend that you don't include things like clients' names, because usually we don't need to know what the client's name is in order for AI to produce a good response for you. So if you are able to remove things like that, that would be our recommendation.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, the other thing I wanted to point out, though, and maybe I should share my screen so that you can see it. I'm just going to go back to my LawY screen here. So you can see on my screen here that, let's say I've typed in Amanda Smith. You can click on the rewrite button here, and you can actually remove PII. So you don't have to manually do it. So you can see here now it's changed Amanda Smith just to individual A. And then if I click replace text, it will strip the client's name. So let's say you're copying and pasting something from your file into this question box and it includes a bunch of PII. You can just simply click that remove PII button and it will go through it and remove the PII. You should still probably do a quick review to make sure that it's properly stripped it, but that's a quick way of doing it without having to manually remove everything.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the question, Karen. Any other questions? I do have one on my side, and I think it will be beneficial for the clients too. The new feature that you showed us to create a new matter within a matter, does that change the existing matter type? Plus, does it create a matter in Leap if I choose that option of trying to ask a question in another area of law?
Right. So it does not create a new matter in Leap. It only creates a new matter in LawY. So that's why we refer to it kind of as dummy LawY matters. If you do create a new matter in LawY just for the purpose of asking a question in a different province and practice area.
Can I ask one other question?
Sure.
Thank you, Christine. Can I upload a document or two and I can say, compare these documents, show me all the similarities or differences? So can you do something like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So at this time, we don't have a document attach feature, although, we're certainly happy to take that feedback because I know that some users are looking for that feature. So you can't attach a file to the question box. You can copy and paste a file content into the question box. And if it's a very lengthy document that you're pasting into the question box, it will automatically turn it into an attachment. But unfortunately, that feature is not available. Although I believe for that purpose that you just asked in terms of comparing two documents, probably Matter AI would be the better
Yes.
tool to do that, right, Marisha? She would be able to
Yes.
do that through Matter
Yes. I'll just share my screen quickly here so you can see that. Um, you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
So through Mata AI, you could actually, I don't know, it's not working for me right now. But through Mata AI, we do have a section in Mata AI where you click on New Chat, and it gives you an option for the whole matter. documents or folder. So if you create a folder and then attach those two documents in there, you can use it to compare. I'll reach out to you and we can do it together. I don't know why it's not working for me right now, but through Meta AI, you can compare 2 to 4 documents and get the differences, similarities, and all that.
Okay, thank you.
Just to, I always say Meta AI is internal, like anything about your file. Meta AI will do that for you. If you just want anything that is out, like Google research, like that's LawY. LawY is just research.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other questions? I think we have one question here. Not a question, just a comment. I have been a verifier for a long time. Christine, I believe this is for you.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Thank you for that feedback. So one of our verifiers just wanted to comment, and he's one of our longtime verifiers. He's dealt with hundreds of verifications, and to date, he's said that he's never seen a personally identifying name. And so the AI seems to be very good at capturing that and changing it so it's non-identifiable. So thank you for that feedback.
Thank you, Daryl. Any other questions? Just feel free to type if you're shy to speak to us. I promise we don't eat.
And another
We're
thing
good
I'll
people.
just say is that if you do want to ask me a question after this webinar, feel free to email me directly. My email is christine@lawY.ai. So you can also feel free to reach out to me directly if you wanted to.
Yes, and yeah, we'll give it 1 or 2 minutes. If we
Sure.
don't have any questions, we will close the session.
Sure.
And actually, I have one more just for my own personal, I believe, also our attendees may
Sure.
have as well. The follow-up question, am I able to, is it like a hyperlink where I can just click on it and it just does it, or I have to copy and paste it in the section of asking questions?
Yeah, I think you would have to copy and paste.
Okay, copy and paste.
Unfortunately.
And those are all the suggestive questions, right? So you just have to copy and paste them or type them manually.
Sorry, what was your question about
The follow-up
suggested
questions,
questions?
they suggest after you've asked your question, there's like follow-up questions that are at the bottom. They suggest,
Yes.
do we have to copy
Oh no,
and
for that you just click on it and
or
it
you just
will
click on it?
automatically continue the conversation. So
Okay, so you
actually,
don't have to type or copy and
no,
paste.
you don't have to type it. Clicking on that will automatically ask the question to LawY and it will start generating the AI answer.
Thank you.
Sure.
Well,
Hello.
hello, go ahead.
I'm just wondering, how do you print the page when I've done some research and I just want to write it so I can read it later?
Yes. So right now, and that is question that we have received in the past as well. Right now, you would have to copy and paste that AI response into a Word document if you wanted to print it.
I've done that, but it often doesn't turn out the way it looks on the LawY
Understood.
page. Yeah, so I'm just wondering if there's any way, any trick to making it copy and look good.
Oh, I see. Were you trying to copy just an AI response, or was it some sort of draft that you were trying to copy?
It was both. I've tried both. I have to say the pleading, I asked for a notice of motion, and it was abysmal, to be quite honest. The AI response to a query was much better, but it was very difficult to copy the notice of motion.
Yes, I will say that with drafting court documents, it's a bit trickier because it won't draft it directly onto the court form, right? So when you're asking LawY for drafting assistance, particularly with regards to court documents, it's really the substance that it can help you with. But in terms of formatting, we do recognize that it won't be probably in the format that you would want it to be in for court documents. And so you may have to do a little bit more manual copying and pasting into your court form. Although I wonder if maybe for that sort of task, Leap's form maybe filler might be
AI
useful
prompts.
alongside that.
Mr. Grant, let me look into that and I'll send you a quick email on that, or we'll send with a I'll update you on that. Let me try it on my ends and see how we can get a format using our Leap AI prompts, because I know we do have those that design motions and affidavits, and it's like based on the jurisdiction you're in. So let me try that with LawY and see if it will work, and then I'll get back to you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. One further question.
Yes.
Is it possible to pay for an hour of time to answer all the questions I have? I have a number of them built up over time, and I'd like to use this tool much more than I am. And I was wondering if that's possible.
So are these questions specific to LawY or
Oh,
across
absolutely.
LawY? Okay.
No.
I can certainly help you with anything that's related to LawY. If you wanted to reach out to me directly at my email address, I'm happy to schedule a quick Zoom session with you.
Wonderful. That's Christine at LawY.ai.
Yes, that's right.
Wonderful. Thank you for your time today.
Sure.
I'll paste her email in the chat box just so everyone can have it. And
Sure.
And any other questions you guys may have, just feel free to reach out to the client success department. We'll be happy to get in touch with you guys and try to put out more information for you guys, answer any questions that you have. We are here to make it smooth for you guys. And yeah, thank you again for joining us today. We are happy that you spared an hour with us, and you'll receive a survey. If you can give us feedback, that would be appreciated. Otherwise, if we don't have any questions, yeah, thank you again, and I'm happy to be part of this today.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much,
Christine.
everyone.
Bye.